Yoga for osteoporosis. Now, one question that wasn't brought up during the doctor's lectures: osteoporosis is a spectrum of severity. The tests that are done, the DEXA scan, you don't have to remember the name of it. It's basically a fancy X-ray. Measures a scale from densest bone at approximately, in females, age 30, and breakable bone down the road, and that's what's called osteoporosis, and those are called pathological fractures when they break seemingly spontaneously. But along the way, there's a stop called osteopenia, which is where the bone can be measured to have a slightly reduced density. And then there are multiple degrees of osteoporosis, and they're given numbers. Let me make one point about that, is that no woman, never mind past menopause, for instance, let's say for the sake of argument, an average of 51 years old. No woman at menopause will have the same bone density as a 30-year-old who is actively hormonal. It's practically impossible. So having the test, for whatever reason it's done, is likely to produce an abnormal result because you're being compared to a much younger person. The lectures mentioned that the T-score, which is what I just described, comparison to an average 30-year-old, and another one called a Z-score, which supposedly compares the individual being tested to the average person of the same age and race. There are some factors that cannot be modified. Well, actually they can, but I'll get back to that. The factors are their genetic predisposition, and it's kind of, we have to be careful about this, but it's true. Race, meaning what part of the world one is from. The more equatorial, the darker the skin, the more sun exposure, and the denser the body, the more square, the stronger the bones are going to be because they've been sustaining calcium, vitamin D, sunlight, and work a lot more than people in the Scandinavian countries where the sun is only out for part of the year. That's the things that can be modified are exercise, cigarettes, and alcohol. Those are the first ones that come to mind. And supposedly foods that are high in acid, like meat. It's certain kinds of acid in the amino acids. And the doctor also pointed out that sodas are detrimental to bone strength. I don't know that for a fact, but I can see how that might work. After all, soda is carbonic acid in the gas and phosphoric acid in the flavoring, especially Coca-Cola. Anyway, what can we do? All that matters in osteopenia is they're advising against yin yoga. Yin yoga, of course, is where the postures are sustained gently and without pulling or straining of any kind. So here, I was just about to do it because I like yin yoga. An example of a yin pose would be to allow the back to bend forward. And what that does is it causes the ligaments and the vertebra on the back to put undue pressure against each other and tension, and can literally, the word is avulse, pull tendons off the bones and literally crush the bones. It rarely causes neurological problems when it happens spontaneously like that, but it can be very painful and at least temporarily debilitating. So this wasn't meant to be a medical lecture, but if we're going to be careful about our clients with osteoporosis, we really should know at what point along that spectrum they are. Now, one of my poses to me makes sense to do in osteoporosis. First of all, everything seated and standing that causes the person to straighten their spine and also strengthen the core muscles that hold them in good alignment. To remember, and this will apply when standing also, the shoulders are over the hips, the ears are over the shoulders, the top of the head is as if it's being pulled upward on a marionette string toward heaven, a golden cord to heaven. So the straighter the posture, the better that the muscles are supporting the bones, and the bones are aligned on top of each other properly. Pretty much, you have to be very severely osteoporotic for anything to happen in the presence of this kind of good posture. Now, the exercise that I think is a good one, but one has to not push it hard, especially when one is new, would be seated twists. So I'm going to put my one arm behind me, and the other arm I'm going to hold on to the knee and turn my head very slowly and twist very gently. A little more twist on the inhale, a little more twist on the exhale. And when it's comfortable, you feel the tension on the muscles and ligaments and tendons, but don't break anything. It's really that simple. And I'm going to hold this for 5 breaths. 2 exhales. 3 exhales. 4 exhales. 5 exhales. Look toward the front, to the center, and let the body come back to center. I believe symmetry is important. Not everybody does. So I'm going to uncross my legs and recross my legs with the other ankle in front. This can be done in Sukhasana. It could be done in Hero's Pose. My evolved favorite sitting position is Siddhasana, which is also called the Adept's Pose. When I video this, you can see where my knees are, but we'll live. I try to get my knees as far down as possible, remembering that if the knees are above the hips, much above the pelvis, find something to elevate and sit on so that the knees can relax and come down gradually. That allows the hips to open. So the other side now, I'm going to reach behind me with my left arm and reach the right arm, the right hand to the left knee. Inhale and exhale to turn gradually and gently. Never force, never bounce. I remember when Snap, Crackle, and Pop was a breakfast cereal. Inhale to twist a little more. Exhale to twist a little more. If it hurts, that's more than enough. If it's too much, back out. Inhale. Exhale. 2. Inhale, twist a little more. Exhale, twist a little more. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Turn the face back to center. Bring the body back to the front. And as I mentioned earlier, standing poses, anything with the back straight, even Uttanasana, teachers will advise against rounding the back. Don't round the back. But we're supposed to be folding from the hips. So I'm folding from the hips. I'm not rounding my back. I'm keeping my back very straight until it goes down as far as it can. I let my hands down. And my back is straight. It is not rounded to any great degree. To come back up, inhale my hands to my hips. Exhale, straighten midway. Inhale, come up the rest of the way. And that's good for osteoporosis. Every weight-bearing exercise is good for osteoporosis, but within reason, clearly. If somebody's trying to pick up more than they can handle, even because it's heavy, that's not a good idea. So that's enough out of me for this one, and that's enough for tonight.